Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical. For those of you who may not know, I was once an international fugitive. I was held in a black site prison in Germany. I was hunted and wanted by various shadow organizations and even by the US government itself, Interpol, US Marshals, everything. The reason that I'm making this video, it's another installment of the Cigar story series, but I've got right here the proof. I've got all my paperwork that they gave me and that I was able basically to get smuggled out, if you will, of the black site prison that I was in. I've got the proof there, and the reason that I'm showing this paperwork is because the US government says that I was never there. A lot of people out there on the interwebs are skeptical about this story. This cover-up has gone so far as to involve the Mormon Church and the state of Utah to even publish fake news articles saying that I was arrested in Florida when I have all the documentation right here showing that I was illegally arrested in Germany, illegally held 48 days in a black site prison. We're going to get into those cigar stories here in a minute. I'm going to talk all about it. I'll go through the paperwork here with you, page by page, tell you what happened, what took place, and how I was able to survive that time in my life against such insurmountable odds to make it to where I am today, CEO and owner of Bone Tactical, the company responsible for making the world's most effective edged weapons and self-defense tools, as well as non-permissive environment gear, like the concealed carry shirt that I have on, known as the El Sicario. This is the executive cut, and so we'll discuss a little bit about the shirt as well. I'll walk you through it. I know at the time of filming this video, we're going to be getting into colder weather, fall, winter months, and so this is a heavier duty version and really just a game changer for being able to conceal items, look your best, be it just top tactical proficiency. So we'll get into that towards the end of the video. First, I'm gonna light up my cigar because it's a cigar story video. And then I'll walk you through this stack of paperwork and start telling stories about what it was like and a little of the backstory behind an American citizen being illegally held at a black site prison in Germany. So first things first, this booklet that we've got right here is U.S. Mission Germany, information for citizens of the United States of America imprisoned in the Federal Republic of Germany. So something really interesting is legally speaking, when you're an American citizen and you're arrested in a foreign country, they have to give you this paperwork. They also have to give you the right to contact an attorney. They have to give you the right to, let people know what happened to you. In this case, they gave me this paperwork and then they said, hey, you're not allowed any type of contact whatsoever. You're not allowed any phone calls. There was a video that went out on the internet at that time, a kill capture video, basically saying that I was either killed or captured and thought to be dead. And my family thought I was dead, my friends thought I was dead, my employees thought I was dead. Nobody had heard anything about me. So they just basically disappeared me, right? And it's very funny, the level of corruption at the U.S. government, because the powers that be only have to give certain commands to certain people, and then all of these people that might just be doing their jobs just follow along blindly. So what we can take from that, those of you guys watching this video, don't just blindly do your jobs, all right? Really, as strong men and women capable of independent thought, we should be able to see when something is wrong and challenge negativity. Be able to stand up and make a decision to do what's right. So what happened in this case is somebody from the embassy came down and gave me all this paperwork and stuff, and they might have just been doing their job. They said, oh, here's your paperwork. And I said, well, hey, can I contact anybody? Can I contact an attorney? Well, that's not my department. You're in care of the of the Republic of Germany. They are in charge of giving you a phone call, this, that, and the other. So what the US government basically was doing, or the people in power, whoever had enough authority to tell the people in Germany, hey, don't give this guy any phone call, don't let this guy have any outside contact. That's how a black site prison today works. It's not like Guantanamo Bay anymore. They can't do Guantanamo Bay anymore because people found out about that and it got shut down. So what they do now is they hide you in a regular prison in a different country. And in my case, they booked me under a fake name and a fake charge and said that I was there for fishing without a license. My literal booking into the system said that I was in Germany for fishing without a license on the surface. So all of the German prison guards and stuff, if they were to look into my system, into the report in the computer, that's all it would say, that I was supposed to be there. Of course, once you're in prison, you can't get out. But how crazy, this American guy in the maximum security prison in Nuremberg for fishing without a license. Of course, any one of those guys could have done a little research and found out that I wasn't supposed to be there, but they were just doing their job as well. And that's how the United States operates today, with being able to hide people away or doing whatever they want. They just cross a line of jurisdiction, give an order to that other person, and then everybody says, hey, it's not my responsibility, the US is telling me to hold you here, and then the US says, well, hey, it's not our responsibility, we don't know where Greg Tambone is. Okay, so moving right along, this right here is a sheet of paper that basically just shows ID information, okay, my name, date of birth, stuff like that. This is a document called an Antrag, and it's basically supposed to be a grievance. And you can see here at the top it says JVA Nuremberg. That's the prison in Nuremberg that I was held in. It's actually the same prison where the Nazi trials took place. I was actually in the cell where Hermann Goering committed suicide at one point in time. Just crazy history there. But it's where the Nazi trials took place after World War II. So that grievance, it's funny, they would give me the grievance, I would turn it in, and then the warden was privy to the information. So I would be like, hey, I want to contact my embassy, hey, this, that, the other. He would just be getting these grievances from me and just throwing them away as soon as he got them. This is the house rules for the prison. They gave me an English copy of the house rules. Very professional. This right here is Germany in a nutshell. For those of you that don't know much about Germany, this is Germany in a nutshell. The pale blue, the 1980s writing, very well organized, and then having, you know, an option for everybody, an English version of the, you know, very, very old school, very squared away culture of people. This I got at court, so I went to court. And this is an order for my extradition, okay, an extradition order. But the funny thing is that, so I'll tell a little bit about how I was arrested, which is crazy. I was basically being followed by a couple spies is the best thing that you could say. I never was able to find out if they were, you know, most likely CIA. And whatever, this was a, you know, this arrest was a joint task force operation between multiple nations, between El Salvador, Spain, United States, and Germany. I had been followed around and interrogated through El Salvador, through Spain, in order, El Salvador, Spain. I was captured, held, and interrogated in each one of those two countries, but nothing else, right? The best that I can surmise, because it's not like they have a conference later on with you and say, oh, hey, this is the CIA, we're just letting you know what we were doing and why, and we'd like to apologize. And no, they don't do any of that. They just deny, and then, you know, we'll get into how I got free and everything like that as well in this video. But I still have to surmise what their reasoning behind doing all of this was. And what I can surmise is that they were trying to find something on me that would stick so they could legally arrest me and get rid of me, right? Of course, I wasn't doing anything illegal, so they couldn't do that. So they just kept detaining me, interrogating me. For a while, when I knew that I was being hunted and wanted, I stayed off grid for a couple of years. And then I decided after a couple of years, I just contacting multiple attorneys. So there's 2 years prior to this where I had been contacting attorneys. I had 3 different attorneys. None of them would, basically none of them could figure out what they could do for me. They were just telling me, hey, you need to come back to the United States, and that's the only way we can get this figured out. Nobody in the government's willing to talk to us. They're just saying that you have a warrant, but they won't arrange your surrender, nothing. They're looking for you, and they're saying they're going to catch you. You don't have to turn yourself in because they're going to catch you. So for 2 years, they were dedicating massive amounts of manpower and money trying to find me. Of course, I would have never been found if I didn't want to, and I contacted my lawyer, my most recent lawyer at this time, and I told, hey, I'm going to be doing some stuff. I'm just going to go to the airport under my real name. If they want to arrest me, they can. I'd like to turn myself in. If I'm going to turn myself in, can I do it in Germany and this, that, and the other? Okay, I'm going on my way to Germany. I'm going to be in El Salvador. I'm going to be in Spain. I told my lawyer all this stuff. He contacted the U.S. government, who he could contact, and they basically told him, we're not going to give you any information, so whatever. Okay. What they did was they put this joint task force together. They followed me. They watched me, but they didn't arrest me. Interrogated me in each one of these countries, detained me, interrogated me, and let me go after a short amount of time. So I'm slowly making my way up to Germany. I was, at the time, with colleagues, and they got way more advanced than me, obviously, because I kept getting held back in each country. That's kind of the backstory. Fast forward to me arriving in Germany, there's a couple guys following me around the whole time. I was in Germany for several days, was able to get a lot of business done that I was working on there. And these guys were just following me around the whole time. My tradecraft skills allowed me to be fully aware, from the get-go that these 2 gentlemen were following me around for several days. Finally, I'm taking place in this conference there in Nuremberg, and have business meetings, negotiations, and things like that at this conference, and I have a name badge and everything. Their big plan was to cancel my name badge. So the fourth day that I went in to go to the conference, 3rd or 4th day, it was I went in the morning and went to scan in, walking into the conference through security, and that said denied, name badge canceled. Well, these guys that had been they were following me the whole time. They thought that I didn't know they were there. They were trying to do their best to keep a distance and look nonchalant, whatever. In the main lobby there, in a sea of people, my card gets canceled. So I asked the guy at the security thing, well, I've been coming every day. What's the deal? And he's like, you need to go to customer service. I don't know what the deal is, but you got to go to customer service. So these guys are standing between me and customer service, kind of like closer right there to customer service, acting like they're talking to each other. And I see them, and I was like, oh, and I knew exactly what was going to happen then. So I was like, okay, great. So I went over there to customer service. I got in line, and then these 2 guys approached me, and they said, hey, was your card canceled by chance? And I said, yeah. And they said, are you Greg Tambone? And I said, yeah. And they said, can you come with us? And I said, look, guys. I said, you're not going to get any problem out of me. I've seen you guys have been following me. Just take it easy, chill, okay? There's no reason for this to go to violence. Just take it easy. I'll go with you. I know what's going on. There's not going to be any problems. Don't get trigger happy. Don't pull your guns. Just be cool, and we'll go. Where do you want me to go? Okay, come with us. We're going to go to this room over here. So I walk into the room, and there's just basically a SWAT team. It was a special police force I forget what they call them, but they're like a GSG, I think it is. They're German special forces guys, and they're all in there with their weapons trained on me as soon as I walk in. And then they then grab me, arrest me, all that stuff. So that was how I was taken into custody. From there, I was held at a little regional holding center until they prepped the area for me at Nuremberg, and I was brought into Nuremberg. So this is the next piece of paperwork here. This is the extradition order, and this is paperwork. Most of this stuff is paperwork that they gave me in court. I have an English translation here. It says, and this is very funny. This is the appointment of counsel. The application of prosecuted Gregory Tambone to appoint a counsel for him will be rejected. So basically, it's just, I got into court and they're like, it's unbelievable. I was like, why am I here? And they're like, well, we have an extradition order from the United States. And I was like, well, okay, send me to the United States. Why am I here? And they're like, well, the United States issued an order with Interpol Joint Task Force, all these different organizations to apprehend you, and we are being told to hold you here. So the United States will come pick you up when they want to, basically. And I was like, well, why can't I get a lawyer? They're like, well, you're not eligible for a lawyer because you're... so it's just the same thing. It's always... It's kind of like what internet companies do. I don't know if you guys have internet with a big service provider. But they just pass you off to somebody else, or really any big nation, they say. Any big company, excuse me. Countries do the same thing. When they want to do something they're not allowed to do, they just say, oh, well, you know, let's do it over here, do it over there, pass you off to this. That's customer service department, or, you know, that's, you know, it's like having shell companies if you're trying to hide money. Oh, well, you know, that's a different business, you know, drawing these lines of jurisdiction, and that's what they did with me. The powers that be they just had other people do it. Tell the embassy to give him the information, but don't let him call anybody, right? And then, oh, well, when it's time to get phone calls in the prison, they have, this prisoner's a high threat levels, high security, high threat level. He's not allowed to have any contact with outside people. Well, they are just telling the German prison guards that. They don't know anything about me, and that's how they effectively converted into a black site prison, because they put me in a cell, solitary confinement, right, where there's no outside contact, just like that. I did have cellmates, but my cellmates were in similar circumstances. One of them was from Amsterdam, big-time drug dealer, and they were keeping him low-key, and then another one was a Russian mafia guy. And so there was the three of us in there that were on the same kind of like a security level, where they didn't want us having any kind of outside contact. And 23 hours in a cell. 1 hour you get to go outside in a little rec yard. So this is another document. I'm just going to hold these documents in front of the camera. You guys can, this is kind of just the proof. This is an English translated version. If you guys want to pause on any of this stuff, all the stamps and seals you can see here on the back, legal copies. It's just a translated copy. They translated this stuff and gave it to me. So on the cover of things, they make it look like everything's legit and legal. They give you all the paperwork, but then they just act like it's a mistake in the paperwork that you can't get a phone call, or that you can't contact the embassy, or that nobody knows why you're there. This is a memorandum for the air carrier. What this says is that Tambone Gregory Isaac, American, was put on an airline from München Flughafen in Munich, from Munich to Atlanta, and 3 U.S. Marshals, right here at the bottom it says Daryl Spencer, Brittany Dean, and Steve Douglas were the 3 U.S. Marshals. Also, I don't know if all U.S. Marshals are this corrupt, but the most corrupt people out of this whole thing was the U.S. Marshals. The whole time these dudes were talking about how, and the one girl that was in the same mind space, they were just talking about how they beat people up and bully people and sick their dogs on, you know, crackheads and homeless people and stuff. Just disgusting people, really. And, you know, these guys are just blindly following orders as well, not knowing, you know, who they're picking up or why, just going and finally picking somebody up. So they did come and pick me up, 48 days in prison there. Finally got the order. And you might ask why. So they had me off grid, they had me hid away, everybody thought I was dead. The system was working great as far as me being just disappeared. Why did they finally extradite me? I honestly believe, me being a Christian, and everything happens for a reason, right? At this time in my life, and the only book I had was a Bible. I had a little Bible in my room there that the priest at the jail had given me. Just kind of slipped through the door one day. And I was reading a passage about having the faith of a mustard seed to be able to move mountains and the purity of faith. And concentrating on that, reading my Bible every day, praying, meditating, like I do every morning. First thing I do is I almost always dedicate at least an hour every day to meditation and reading the Bible, praying. And that's a lot of time for me because I'm a person that works 100-hour work weeks, and my time is metered out to the minute. I don't even waste minutes. So an hour. So that tells you the first thing that I do. That's very important to me. So anyway, I'm battling with having faith that God is going to give me another opportunity at life, that I'm not going to be killed or hidden away for the rest of my life illegally, even though even my lawyers and everybody's telling me that I'm pretty much done for. So I had kind of a spiritual breakthrough. I finally got to the point where I wasn't worried and had 100% faith. I basically had to work through some stuff and was able to see, believe it or not, this YouTube platform that I have of being able to speak out, and God put on my heart for me to live by certain guidelines and to utilize what I share in a certain way, in a proper way, to help others and not to be a negative influence. And I had complete confidence then and there and 100% faith that God had a plan for me, and that plan involved me having a YouTube channel and speaking out and being a teacher and sharing and changing the world with the tools and equipment that I make, that really stuff that only I can do, a blessing, gifts that I have that I'm able to do. And I had complete faith. I had been battling with that. One morning I woke up, 100% faith. I knew I was doing the right thing. I knew what was coming was me being freed, even though everything said that I was never going to get out. And all indications were against it. That day, the actual warden came down, busted into my cell. "Greg Tambone." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why do you keep writing me all these grievances?" I was like, "Man, I just want to know why I'm here, and if I'm really here for a warrant in the U.S., why can't I go back to the U.S.? I'd been there 48 days in that German prison. And here he is, and I told him that, and he said to me, "The U.S. Marshals are coming to get you." And I was like, cool. It was crazy. I had that spiritual breakthrough, and from that point forward, with that, I had that faith. I knew 100% that I was going to get out of the situation. And it wasn't over yet, but at least I knew that I was going to get out of German prison and U.S. Marshals were coming to get me. So here's some more paperwork. Again, if you guys want to see, this is the check-in sheet, so this is pretty much undeniable. You can see my picture here. The powers that be, even, like I say, got in touch with Salt Lake City newspapers and had them publish saying I was arrested in Florida and brought back to Utah. So just craziness. I did go from Germany to Salt Lake City. Okay. There's a couple other documents I'll show real quick. This is the list of attorneys that they gave me. Again, they gave me a list of attorneys, but I had no way to contact any attorneys. Instruction sheet that they gave me, acting like they're covering all their bases. Okay, release authorization I couldn't use. And they even gave me a letter to the consulate that I couldn't mail. So, an instruction sheet to American citizens arrested in Bavaria, and then just me being hidden away. So from what I could understand, they're just probably during this time trying to investigate more and more stuff. They were holding me there so they could try and gather details of justifying the fact that they're spending these hundreds of thousands of dollars on this massive operation to follow me, track me, watch what I'm doing, and then eventually arrest me, detain me, interrogate me, do all this illegal stuff, and like I say, eventually arrest me, bring me back to Salt Lake City, Utah, which when I got back to Salt Lake City, Utah, they had built this basically BS case, and everything just fell apart almost immediately. I bailed out of jail and never went back again. My attorney, which I had to switch attorneys again, like I say, he was saying my best bet was to dress up like a Mormon and wear a Mormon ring and convert to being a Mormon, and that's kind of the only way that maybe I could get a chance. And that if I did go to jail, that they would just keep me in prison in Utah for life, and that was a loophole that they could do because it was a punishable by life charge that they were then arresting me for once I got back to Utah. And I told him, I said, look, there's zero evidence against me. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm not going to act like a Mormon besides the fact I'm a Christian, and it's absolutely against my faith. So I said, let's see what happens. What happens will happen. I did some road trips going back and forth to Florida, spent some time with family. I even did a 7-day road trip on my way to that final court appearance. Going back and forth to Florida, I was going, and my lawyer basically said, this is going to be your last court appearance, right? Like you're going to be in prison for the rest of your life. And this is a paid attorney, by the way. Tons of money that all of this cost. The whole thing was supposedly over a girl that was at a club, who I hooked up with at a club in Utah back in the day, that supposedly says I raped her. And she never showed up. Nobody could ever contact her. I had private investigators asking her friends, and talking to them, and they were like, well, it was pretty clearly sex. Everything showed that it was just normal sex. We had sex at a club, something I shouldn't have done. Definitely was not living right, but nothing close to rape. So when I finally got this, the last day I was in court, I got in there and I just told the judge, I said, look, judge, there's no evidence against me. I just told him, I said, this my first chance I'd had to talk in court. This was like 4 years after the supposed rape incident. And the prosecutor just said, if you go into court and if you say that you accidentally bumped into a girl while you were working security at the club and touched her breast, then we're going to sign a paper that says you that's what happened, and you get a misdemeanor charge, and everything goes away. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And my lawyer was like, look, take this plea deal, or you're going to go to life in prison. I finished my cigar, so I'm going to finish this story real quick. I go in front of the judge. The judge says, do you accept this plea deal? And I said, look, Your Honor, I said, I had sex with this girl at a top level of the club. She came in to see me, right? I guess she was married and when her friends found out and were going to get back to her husband, she was a Mormon chick, didn't want to have a falling out with her husband in the church, so she must have made up a rape story, is the best I can think of, because, I never had any contact with this girl after that night. And nobody could get in contact with her again either. So I don't know if she even said that she was raped or if she didn't. I don't know. But here I am in court. They're telling me, you grabbed a girl's breast on the dance floor at a club while you were working security. And I was like, unbelievable. So I told the judge, I said, look, I had sex with this girl. Consensual intercourse. She came to the club to see me. We have all the text messages. We went upstairs. We had sex. It's something I was doing all the time. There's literally there was a multi-level club. One of the floors was not being used that night, and I would always just take chicks up there and hook up with them. I would have chicks come up and see me when I was at work and do that regularly. All of the guys at work knew it. I even told the guys that were working with me, the other security guys, to cover for me, and they all gave testimonies as well. They gave their statements. I said, hey, I'm going to go hook up with this chick upstairs, cover for me. So crazy that this happens, and then how much corruption does it take for a district attorney, for a prosecutor, to say, sign this paper that says you bumped into a girl and accidentally touched her breast. When knowing full and well, supposedly it's a rape, and then why would you even make, you know it's a lie. Like it's 100% made up lie. So anyway, that was my experience with all of this stuff. You know, you be the judge of whether it was just a massive failure of the justice system and waste of hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars for accidents, people just being so dumb and ignorant and not doing their job and foolish that they just pushed paperwork around and a guy like me got the brunt of it? Or is there more to the story? Why were so many nations involved? Why was Interpol involved? You know, why were these guys trailing me from some intelligence organization? You know, you guys, I can't tell you the whole story because, of course, like I say, I only know what they tell me when I go through court. That's kind of gist of it. I do want to give a shout out real quick. Cigar Stories, and the shirt is the Executive Cut El Sicario shirt. What that basically means is this is a shirt that will allow you to carry concealed, and very well. There's a long sleeve version as well. Beautiful black shirt. This shirt will give you the element of surprise so that you can have a concealed weapon and it won't print or show through, which is the #1 tactical advantage in a violent altercation. And it will also give you the element of look good, play good, or passing the look test, however you want to say it. You guys will look good and be more successful in your daily endeavors. So, handmade, 100% attention to detail. Beautiful handmade shirt. This is not just your average machine-made factory crap. This is handmade by some of the world's finest tailors, okay? And just absolutely beautiful work of art shirt. The idea and the principle behind it is being 2-layer fabric. So I'll show you here. It is my own camouflage, bone tactical camouflage on the inside. It's 2 layers. This is the heavy duty version. So this is ripstop here. And that means it's super tough. This is the executive cut in black, is specifically for fair weather environments. Not great for hot weather because it's so thick, tough, heavy duty. But this allows weapons to not print. It allows you to have a stash. So there's a double pocket here, one pocket hidden on the inside in front of the front pocket. So you can do a pat down and you'll feel what's in the front pocket and take it out, and you can have like a $100 bill or whatever document in the back pocket that'll even pass a pat down, won't get caught, won't get found. So a lot of really the floral accents are just like a nice touch. On the long sleeve, they're inside of the sleeves as well, so you can roll those sleeves up if you want to. But just really, really nice details of the shirt. The snap buttons work so that you can rip it open, access your firearm, right? And basically what it is it's line 1 gear. It's clothing that protects your body. It won't slow you down. It keeps you operating high speed. Allows you to eke out your full potential, element of surprise with those concealed weapons, look good, play good, and it's just, it's being assertive in life and tweaking all the details. All the details matter, guys. If you want to be successful and if you want to be your own bodyguard, be a protector, be good at what you do, be the best version of you, all the details matter. And buying a shirt just only to look cool or because somebody else has that type shirt is not the way to do it. The way to make all the details matter is that even down to the shirt on your back is important. It matters. And now you know and have access, bonetactical.com, to a clothing line that can make you a better performer, a better protector, and more tactically proficient. Thanks for watching. Bone out.